So we have a small topic left in the first chapter, that is types of edema, overhydration and dehydration, and a little bit about disturbance of electrolytes as well. So just do that. We'll start special pathology, which will include tuberculosis from Monday. Okay. So tomorrow you have an exam, so there will be no class. Just write your exam. We'll finish this and we'll conclude the class. Okay. So now, yesterday I told you what is edema, how it is occurring. Now we'll talk about types of edema. The first type will be renal. So renal edema बहुत तरीके से हो सकता है. It can be because of nephrotic syndrome, it can be because of glomerulonephritis, or it can be an acute tubular injury. Essentially, what is happening is, let's suppose we take the example of nephrotic syndrome. Nephrotic syndrome में one of the main characteristic features of nephrotic syndrome as such is that the patient will have severe proteinuria. ठीक है. प्रोटीन स्पेसिफिकली एल्ब्यूमिन यूरिया. सो आपके ब्लड में बहुत सारे प्रोटीन्स रहते हैं. वन वेरी सिग्निफिकेंट प्रोटीन दैट इज प्रेजेंट इनसाइड योर ब्लड and which contributes very heavily to the oncotic pressure of your blood. You remember yesterday I told you the difference between oncotic and hydrostatic pressure and why they are important with respect to edema. Albumin is the one that is getting excreted heavily in case of nephrotic syndrome. जब भी proteinuria हो रहा, albumin is the one that is being excreted. उसको albuminuria भी बोलते हैं. Essentially, what happens is, because of excessive albuminuria, the patient will suffer from hypoalbuminemia, in the sense that they are having albuminuria, albuminuria, okay, wherein a lot of albumin is being excreted out of the patient's urine. This causes decrease in albumin content in your blood, which is called hypoalbuminemia. Okay. Now, whenever there is hypoalbuminemia in a patient, or essentially whenever protein content in your blood decreases, it will cause a decrease in osmotic pressure or oncotic pressure. Okay. Meaning the pressure that was holding plasma and which was holding fluid inside your blood capillaries will decrease. And essentially, what will happen is it will tilt the scale in the favor of hydrostatic pressure. Meaning, relatively speaking, hydrostatic pressure will become more. ठीक है. अब यहाँ पर initially osmotic pressure and hydrostatic pressure were being balanced somehow, because of which your blood volume was being maintained. At this point, if oncotic pressure decreases, even if hydrostatic pressure remains the same, the total amount of fluid that is present inside your blood will start moving out, because there will be a net outflow of fluid, leading to what you call your edema. Because the same thing, similar thing will happen in your glomerulonephritis. Whenever there is an inflammatory condition where your glomeruli are getting damaged, you get severe inflammatory condition. वहाँ पर भी, because of albumin, this thing, glomerular damage, what will happen is proteins will start escaping, not just albumin, उसमें globulin भी जाने लगता है. ठीक है. नॉन सेलेक्टिव प्रोटीन यूरिया बोलते हैं उसको, बिकॉज अल्ब्यूमिन यूरिया अगर हो रहा तो उसको सेलेक्टिव प्रोटीन यूरिया बोलते हैं, बिकॉज ओनली सेलेक्टिव प्रोटीन इज गेटिंग एक्सक्रीटेड. You have glomerulonephritis and nephrotic syndrome in pathology later on. I'll go into detail then. But essentially, what is happening is, in glomerulonephritis, other proteins will also start getting removed. So the rate at which edema occurs will increase even more, because in nephrotic syndrome, खाली albumin जा रहा था. Eventually, if glomerulonephritis occurs, other proteins will also start getting affected, and they will start getting excreted, and the rate at which edema develops will increase even more. Acute tubular injury, essentially what happens is there is tubular damage. This tubular damage is because of either shock or it is because of toxic chemicals. And essentially that will lead to damage to your PCT and DCT, because of which your body will not be able to, perform reabsorption properly. Essentially, that process will get haywire. And because of scar formation, ultimately what will happen is your whole body will start becoming edematous. Okay, proteins will be lost, other components are lost in the person's urine, and essentially the person's whole body will start getting affected by edema. Now you will understand how renal edema is occurring a little better when we discuss renal pathology, when we go to glomerulonephritis, nephrotic and nephritic syndrome. But for now, just remember that one of the main causes of edema because of renal problem will be proteinuria. Whenever protein is lost, oncotic pressure falls inside your blood vessel, and as oncotic pressure falls, there is the pressure that was keeping fluid inside your blood vessel decreases, essentially leading to edema. Then there is another type of edema called cardiac edema. Now, cardiac edema generally develops with right-sided congestive cardiac failure. Okay, yeah, right-sided congestive heart failure we बोलते हैं उसको. Now, why right-sided? See, let's suppose I draw a rough picture of your heart. Okay, so these are the four chambers of your heart. Okay, right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. ठीक है, राइट साइडेड हार्ट फेलियर में क्या होता है, कंजेस्टिव हार्ट फेलियर essentially because of, see, the congestive heart failure essentially is a problem wherein what is happening is blood from your ventricle, अब राइट साइडेड हार्ट फेलियर है समझो, इसमें क्या हो रहा है, अब यहाँ पर आपका मेन पल्मोनरी आर्टरी जा रही, ठीक है, एंड यहाँ पर आपका एओर्टा, लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल में आपका एओर्टा ओपन होता है, इसमें आपका पल्मोनरी आर्टरी ओपन होती है. द पॉइंट इज दैट राइट वेंट्रिकल से डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड is getting pumped into this, okay, and from left ventricle oxygenated blood is getting pumped into this aorta, okay, and this pumping action is controlled by valves, okay, tricuspid, bicuspid, sorry, semilunar valves. Okay, you already know this. जो दो main vessels है inside your heart, which is your aorta and pulmonary ventricle, pulmonary artery, sorry, they are having semilunar valves which will act as gates. Okay, whenever there is blood being pumped into them, they will open, and as soon as the ventricle starts undergoing, it'll under diastole, those will shut down, because so that fluid does not regurgitate back. Now, essentially speaking, यहाँ पर congestive cardiac failure में क्या होता है, या congestive heart failure में क्या होता है, those flapping valves are not working properly, and essentially what will happen is blood will start to collect inside your ventricle, right ventricle. Now, end systolic volume थोड़ा रहता आपको, end diastolic volume and systolic volume थोड़ा बचता, but whenever a person has congestive heart failure, there is an abnormality in the semilunar valves itself, and to an extent where they are not completely opening properly. Either there is stenosis or some other problem, because of which what happens is fluid starts getting built up inside your right ventricle. Okay. Again, if I tell you all of this technicality, आप लोग confused होंगे. I'll just put it this way. Let us suppose this is your heart. Okay. This was your right ventricle and this is your left ventricle. Now the problem is that in right-sided cardiac failure, or right-sided heart failure, congestive heart failure, blood starts getting accumulated inside the right ventricle. Okay. As blood starts getting accumulated inside the right ventricle, pressure increases on your right atrium. Okay. As pressure increases on your right atrium, यहाँ पर essentially क्या हो रहा, fluid collect होते जा रहा inside the chamber. Because of which what will happen is, अब यहाँ पर आपको आ रहा pulmonary vein से, ठीक है, it is what you call from all around your body. The deoxygenated blood is being brought into your right atrium, wherein it will be pushed into right ventricle. Right ventricle से lungs को जाता oxygenate होने. यहाँ पर क्या होता, because blood is getting filled up, essentially what will happen is pressure is being created. More and more fluid, as it starts getting built up, what will happen is it will increase the pressure in the right atrium, and as pressure increases in the right atrium, it will start putting pressure in these vessels as well, because the vessels that are bringing deoxygenated blood to the right atrium. यहाँ पर because of that what happens is, because यहाँ पर both right atrium and right ventricle are getting affected, right? See, the problem starts with whenever I tell right-sided congestive cardiac failure, it means that the problem is on the right side. There is a congestion created because of heart failure, okay, which is leading to heart failure essentially. Now, it starts off with your right ventricle. Blood is being regurgitated back, or it is getting filled up. Essentially, it is not getting emptied properly. It is not completely becoming void. ठीक है, आपका राइट वेंट्रिकल जितना स्ट्रोक वॉल्यूम रहना उतना नहीं है essentially. So what will happen is as blood starts getting accumulated in your right ventricle, that excessive fluid or excessive blood essentially will start putting pressure on your right atrium. Because अब right ventricle अगर भरा हुआ रहा तो जहाँ पर एक new blood comes, like suppose new blood is coming like this, that fellow will not have proper place to get voided into right ventricle. There is not enough space. Essentially what will happen is with each diastole and systole that starts getting built up, and right atrium will start feeling that pressure. Okay, I do not have any way wherein I can push this blood into the right ventricle. Right ventricle in turn, because of this excessive pressure, will start putting pressure on the pulmonary veins. Okay, these pulmonary veins which are carrying deoxygenated blood to your right atrium, essentially leading to edema. ठीक है, यहाँ पर क्या होता, आज राइट एट्रियम में फ्लूइड बिल्टअप हो रहा, राइट वेंट्रिकल में फ्लूइड बिल्टअप स्टार्ट होता, बिकॉज देयर इज नो स्पेस एनीमोर, राइट एट्रियम में ब्लड फिल होने स्टार्ट होता. ठीक है, बिकॉज यहाँ पर स्पेस फिल हो जा रही, लेट्स सपोज दिस इज गेटिंग फिल्ड अप विद ब्लड. Okay, there is very little space. Eventually what will happen is right atrium will also start getting filled up because the blood that is coming here does not have any place to go. Okay, normally speaking right atrium से right ventricle को जाना, right ventricle से it should be out of the heart, but यहाँ पर the problem is because fluid is getting accumulated in the right ventricle, it will start getting accumulated in the right atrium as well, and this fluid will start putting pressure on the blood vessels. As it is putting pressure on the blood vessels, it will start affecting other organs as well. All the other blood vessels and the capillaries that are bringing blood to your right atrium and all of the essentially the veins that are carrying deoxygenated blood to your right atrium, they will start getting affected and वहाँ पर pressure बढ़ते जाता. So it is a backflow of pressure. एक जगह बड़ा pressure तो पीछे बढ़ते जाता pressure. And as this pressure increases, what will happen is it will eventually reach your left atrium as well. Because it will reach your left ventricle first, then it will reach your left atrium. That is when you'll have total heart failure. But essentially, you can see backtrack होते होते capillaries को affect होता है, capillaries को affect होते हुए arteries को affect होता है, arteries को affect होते हुए left ventricle को affect होता है. ठीक है. Now it can start off that way as well, or it can be a problem in aorta as well. Essentially, what will happen is because of this accumulation of fluid inside your heart, your blood vessels will experience increased amount of blood pressure. Because that blood does not have any place to go, essentially it is getting stopped. There is a how should I put it, there is a big speed breaker created inside the right ventricle, because of which blood from each and every place is getting stopped. It is slowing down, and as it slows down, it will create more and more pressure in those blood vessels. Okay? That increased pressure will cause fluid to move out of the blood vessel. एक नॉर्मल प्रेशर रहना है आपकी ब्लड वेसल में 120/80. ठीक है, because of this increased pressure, what happens is as blood pressure starts increasing, it will start pushing fluid outside the blood vessel. ठीक है, आपके जो एंडोथेलियम है उसमें से बाहर जाने लगता प्लाज्मा, essentially leading to edema, that is cardiac edema. ठीक है, because of congestive heart failure, you are having generalized edema. Sometimes it can be pulmonary edema, sometimes it can be this thing, generalized edema. Okay, then we have pulmonary edema, very similar to cardiac edema or essentially related to cardiac edema in a way. Pulmonary edema. See, pulmonary edema can occur in 2-3 different ways. One common way is that there is direct infection in your lungs. Okay, there is maybe tuberculosis or maybe some or the other infection in a person's lung, and essentially what is happening is inflammatory reaction is occurring in those lungs, and exudate and transudative fluid are getting accumulated. Pleural space में बहुत सारा fluid accumulate होने लग रहा, and you are having fluid just accumulating in globally in your lungs. Okay, that is one method wherein infection is causing inflammatory reaction and inflammatory reaction is leading to edema. Second method is that if a person is having left-sided heart failure, let's suppose यहाँ पर ये right atrium है, ये राइट वेंट्रिकल है. ठीक है, अब लेट्स सपोज समवन इज हैविंग राइट साइडेड कंजेस्टिव कार्डियक फेलियर, मीनिंग द सेम थिंग व्हिच इज हैपनिंग ऑन द राइट साइड इज हैपनिंग इन द लेफ्ट साइड. यहाँ पर ब्लड एक्यूमुलेट होने लग रहा, एंड व्हाट विल हैपन बिकॉज ऑफ दिस इज इट विल स्टार्ट पुटिंग प्रेशर ऑन द लेफ्ट एट्रियम. इस पे प्रेशर पड़ने लगता. as blood starts getting accumulated in your left ventricle, it starts putting pressure in your left atrium. अब left atrium को blood कहाँ से आ रहा? Lung से आ रहा, right? You are getting oxygenated blood from your lungs drained into your left atrium. That left atrium is pushing the blood into left ventricle, which is distributing it throughout your body. And यहाँ पर क्या होता है? Because blood is getting accumulated in your left ventricle, it will start putting pressure on your left atrium. Left atrium में pressure बढ़ा बोले तो the blood vessels carrying your oxygenated blood to your heart, they will experience increased pressure. As the pressure increases in them, it will start increasing your pressure inside your lungs. Essentially, what will happen is the patient will start experiencing pulmonary hypertension. The blood vessels that are carrying oxygenated blood to your heart, there will be hypertension in that. That is pulmonary hypertension. And as pressure increases there in those vessels, essentially आपके lungs में pressure बढ़ने लगता and eventually leading to pulmonary edema. That is another way through which a person can get pulmonary edema. One is infection. Another is left-sided cardiac failure. If there is left-sided cardiac failure, left ventricular congestive failure, that is, it will cause pressure, a difference, and it will cause excessive pressure to build up in left atrium, which will in turn cause pulmonary veins to, the veins that are bringing oxygenated blood into your left atrium to increase in pressure, and eventually it will cause back pressure. पीछे जाते जाते जाते, it will start putting pressure in your lungs as well. Wherein this extreme amounts of pressure, now you have to remember the blood vessels and the capillaries that are present in your lungs are very very small and delicate. And वहाँ पर जैसा pressure बढ़ते जाता, edema occur होना बहुत common है and बहुत easy भी है. Okay, so that is another way through which a person can get pulmonary edema. Then there is cerebral edema. Now, cerebral edema mostly occurs because of electrolyte imbalance. Okay? The BBB generally, your blood-brain barrier generally makes sure that there is no foreign particles or there is nothing excessive going in and out of your brain. Okay? But sometimes what happens is if your, let's suppose your BBB is getting damaged, okay, the capillary, the blood-brain barrier itself, the endothelial cells that are present there of the capillaries, they are not functioning properly, and let's suppose they are getting damaged, or if your lymphatics are not working properly, they are not draining properly, that is when a person will get cerebral edema. Okay, where fluid is starting to get accumulated inside their brain. Then we have two small topics. That completes our edema. If you have doubts or if you want me to repeat anything, please feel free to ask. If you want me to repeat how congestive cardiac failure worked or how glomerulonephritis worked, anything. Okay. Now, first of all, we'll talk about overhydration. Now, overhydration is the state in which there is water intoxication. There is excessive amount of water. It need not be just because someone is drinking excessive amount of water. It could also be a condition where water is not being excreted out of the person's body. एक है renal disease, proper acute or chronic renal disease हो सकता, या फिर the person might be suffering from Addison's disease, ठीक है, or else the person might have a tumor that is producing antidiuretic hormone, ठीक है. Excessive amount of ADH production will lead to retention of fluid that can cause overhydration. Or if someone has severe congestive heart failure, उसमें overhydration होता, ठीक है. Sometimes what happens is if you are in case of early post-operative period, let's suppose when a patient is on glucose infusion, okay, but they are incapable of diluting the urine because of vasopressin or something, especially due to stress of surgery. Let's suppose their body is not able to dilute that and उनके अंदर vasopressin बराबर secrete नहीं हो रहा, ठीक है, especially post-operative period में जब भी overhydration हो सकता है. This is a rarer situation, but it can happen in those instances as well. Overhydration, one of the basic things that you can do is decrease the total amount of hydration that they are giving and give them diuretic drugs. You can give them drugs that will cause urination. So, आप वैसा treat कर सकते the overhydration. Then we don't have a lot of detail about it, so I'm not going into much. Then we have dehydration. Now, dehydration, simple state of deprivation of water. Okay, there is a loss of electrolytes as well because of it. What will happen is there can be several reasons. आप sunstroke से हो सकता, या diarrhea से हो सकता, maybe there's a obstructive lesion in what you call, maybe you are not drinking enough water altogether, ठीक है, maybe there is a problem in the GIT, there is coma, या फिर starvation, या you are not able to swallow, or there is an obstruction in the esophagus. ये पूरे reasons रह सकते हैं where we are not taking in water, या excessive amount of loss of water. Either way, dehydration can be because of two main reasons. One is you are not taking enough amount of water. Intake of water is very low. You're not drinking enough amount of water simply because of whatever reason. Yeah, so you're not able to swallow, or there is an obstruction, or you're not getting access to water, whatever the reason might be, or coma, या फिर excess water loss. Excess water loss occurs in diabetes, especially diabetes insipidus. If someone is having hyperparathyroidism, या फिर in fever, या फिर hyperapnea, diarrhea, ये पूरे में excessive amount of fluid is lost. And along with fluid, what happens is electrolytes are lost as well, leading to disturbance in electrolytes. You'll be able to see certain symptoms in case of early and mild diarrhea. The patient will become sleepy, or they'll become irritable. There'll be weakness. The skin will become very dry. They might have a flushed face. They'll have a lot of thirst. They will not be able to pass urine, or even if they are passing urine, it will be reduced amounts, in reduced amounts, or it will be dark, yellow. Okay. There'll be cramps, cramps in their arms, cramps in their legs. They'll generally feel malaise. They'll not be well. Okay. They'll have headaches, dry mouth. They'll have a very thick saliva. They'll be miserable essentially. Now, if you are able to give them fluid, you substitute fluid with electrolyte during that period of time, these symptoms will generally reverse. And sometimes, if you are not able to control this, and you generally move them into a cooler place, cooler, moist, cooler, what do you call, a slightly less humid place, and you put them in a pleasant environment where they are able to hydrate them properly. Sometimes उनके extremities को भी moist करना पड़ता, ठीक है. Sometimes what happens is, if someone is becoming very dehydrated, their pulse will become extremely weak, their blood pressure will start fluctuating quite a lot, and will become low, because your blood pressure is directly proportional to the blood volume. अगर excessive dehydration हुआ तो blood volume भी नीचे जा रहा, fluid is present in your blood as well. अगर blood volume कम हो गया तो blood pressure भी गिरने लगता. That is another reason why the patient will start having weakness, and they'll sometimes they might feel sleepy, or they might become unconscious as well. They might be peripheral cyanosis if you're not able to treat them in time. Okay? If, let's suppose, these symptoms persist for a longer period of time, you will start seeing systemic effects wherein blood pressure becomes very low, they will faint, or there is severe muscle contraction in the arms, legs, stomach. Some patients will have seizures. Okay? तो थोड़े वैसे problems होते हैं. Some people might have heat failure. Okay? Or their body will not be able to maintain the normal body heat, that is, because their eyes will become sunken, tears will not come out, excessive dehydration, skin will become, it will lose its firmness, and it will become dry to a point where you'll start seeing breaks inside the skin. The patient might have cracks on the skin, and they'll have literally injuries. You get phat jati skin. So you'll start seeing a little bit of bleeding, or you'll definitely see cuts now if a person is extremely dehydrated. Their breathing will become very rapid, okay, faster than normal generally. So, and in general, pulse will also become quite weak. Whenever you are trying to treat dehydration, essentially, make sure that you are not rehydrating them at one time suddenly. Okay? Slowly make up karna padta. Initially, let us suppose they are dehydrated by a volume of 300 ml from normal. Example, ठीक है, मैं एक arbitrary number दे रहा हूँ आपको समझने के लिए. In the first hour of rehydrating the person who has been dehydrated, you give 75% of this volume. ठीक है, तो 150 और कितना रहता, 225 ml you will give in the first hour, then slowly the rest of the 75 ml over the next 24 hours. Slowly you will start increasing that volume as well. Okay, rehydration should also be very slow and gradual. because आप एक साथ अगर rehydrate करें भी तो that will also lead to a problem, because you are not just rehydrating them with water, you'll preferably also give them electrolytes. Okay, ORS देते हैं, या you'll give them a combination of electrolytes and you'll give a combination of water, coconut water रह सकता है, कुछ भी of that sort, wherein you'll start seeing decrease in symptoms. Maybe their headache goes away, or their urine starts becoming white again. Because your urine is supposed to be transparent. It is not supposed to be yellow and dark. So that could be a sign. Or if their skin turgidity comes back slowly, their elasticity comes back. Okay, they'll not be sleepy anymore. At least they'll not be as irritable as they were. Okay, so those are some measures that you can take if a person is severely dehydrated. Okay, and check for sweating as well. Sometimes some people will sweat a lot, तो वो cases में भी dehydration हो सकता है, like severe sweating बोल रहा हूँ, okay, clinical sweating. So or if they have severe vomiting as well, try to treat this main cause. After that you can treat the symptom. Dehydration will be a symptom there. अगर उनको डायरिया है या vomiting है, gastrointestinal disorder है, या कोई bleeding हो रही, तो पहले उसको treat करना, उसके बाद dehydration को आना. Because until unless you treat the cause, even if you treat the symptom, which is dehydration, you will not be able to achieve much. Okay. So with that, we have completed the first chapter of your pathology. That is general pathology. We'll start special pathology in the next class, second unit.